Hey everyone, Miss Dempsey here. This is a guide for round 1 of the manufacturer series. Let's get this started. Your first braking point is just after you pass the 100 meter mark. Brake as much as you can, then slowly ease off the brakes as you turn in. Take advantage of this curb and the inside curb for this next turn right here and carefully accelerate your way out. Then all you need to do for this left-hander is just ease off on the throttle, but stay on the left side of the track. Brake before you start to pass the black billboards on the left, and you can also take advantage of the track limits on this inside turn, but in this case I don't do it as you have to be a little more careful if you start to accelerate on that inside area. Just after the little gray strip on the left end, you want to start to brake and turn in. So you'll brake hard for just a moment and just control your braking power. You want to go for a light apex, which is where the end of the orange sausage curb on the right is. So once you reach it, you can start to transition over to the throttle and just make sure that your car is fully rotated so you don't have to worry about understeering into the grass. Halfway into the curb on the right, start to brake, bring yourself to the inside, and once you're making your right turn, you can start to accelerate. You can quickly lift off the throttle right here so your car can rotate and you don't have to worry about hitting the grass on the right. Then you can just take these two turns at full throttle and bring yourself to the left side of the track. Your next braking point is the 50 meter mark. You want to brake as much as you can as you'll start to ease off the brakes as you turn in. You can also take advantage of the inside part of this track, but make sure you carefully accelerate your way out so you don't make contact with the gravel. This left turn and the right turn just up ahead can be taken at full throttle, but then you want to bring yourself to the left side of the track and brake before you reach the 50 meter mark. Brake hard for just a moment, then slowly ease off on the brakes as you turn in. Then you want to slowly accelerate, bring yourself to the left, and just as you start to turn in, just after the curb on the left end, you want to use a little bit of braking just so you can slow down just a little bit. Be very patient with the throttle input once again. Then bring yourself to the right, brake before the curb on the right ends. So quick burst of braking, slowly ease off the brakes, slowly start to accelerate so you don't understeer onto the grass and then into the wall. And that is it for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and talk about the strategies. For the qualifier, you only have 6 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time. Even though the fuel consumption rate is at ×3, you can still burn quite a good amount of fuel to lighten up the car, which will let the car go faster and get yourself a better lap time. So we're only going to go through 3 laps. The first lap, which is the one you're seeing right now, is a fuel burning lap. The second one will be another fuel burning lap, and the third one will be the actual flying lap itself. So you can stay on first gear throughout this first lap, but because some of the fast people are getting a little ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and just try to catch up to them. And that's one of the things that you also want to keep an eye out for. If you know someone in your lobby is a pretty fast person in that lobby, you want to try to get close behind them if they're fuel burning. So when they start the flying lap, you're just behind them within the 1.5 second gap, and you can get the slipstream from them, which will make your car go faster and get yourself a better qualifying time. So we're just going to fast forward through this, and I'm going to stay behind these two people over here just so I can get the slipstream benefits out of them. And at the end of this first lap, we're going to go ahead and get some new tires. Also keep an eye on the pit stop time for the qualifying session right now, as it's around the same time for the actual race session, which will kind of give you an idea of what the pit strategy is going to be looking like for the actual race itself. So we're out of the pit stop 10 seconds later after that pit stop, and we're just going to fuel burn some more. We have plenty of time to play with here, over 2.5 minutes, so it's going to take us a while just to fuel burn some more and eventually start the actual flying lap. So ideally you want to start your flying lap 2 to 3 turns before the start finish line, so the third to the last corner pretty much. But in this case, this individual speeds on by. He's a very fast person, which is going to trigger us to want to try to follow him. And we're basically going to start our pace towards the flying lap a little bit earlier than expected, which is fine because we're both having actually pretty good space between each other. So we're all going to be going pretty fast, which will help us get that good lap time. So we're just going to go ahead and just speed on by, fast forward through this clip as we start the flying lap with just over 30 seconds remaining before the second countdown starts. So once again, I'm just trying to maintain that 1.5 second gap without getting too close so I don't have to slow myself down, which will affect my qualifying time. But because I'm just behind him enough, I'm actually going to be able to get that slipstream, which will help me go faster, especially through the straights, as this car isn't the best on straight line speed. And we're going to go ahead and finish this lap with a low, or actually a mid 155, which is not bad, except Zenit got a 155.3 because, well, he does alien things. But either way, this is still a pretty good lap. So once again, you're going to fuel burn your first lap, go in for new tires, fuel burn your second lap, then do a flying lap for your third lap. As for the race strategy itself, it's pretty straightforward. All you want to do is a one stop. There are no tire requirements, so you can just start with racing medium tires and then switch on over to another set of racing medium tires and basically call it a day. As for the fuel, that's a little bit tricky, so you don't want to push the car too much to where you have to refuel, but you don't want to fuel save too much to where you slow yourself down. So you want to try to find that perfect balance, so basically where you can still go fast but at the same time fuel save just enough so that you don't have to refuel. Staying behind someone will also help, so you want to find a friend, just hang out right behind them, and then at the end, if you hopefully saved enough fuel, you can try to make a push for it and then overtake him. As for the shifting points, I noticeably found myself shifting or doing short shifting when I was on the higher gear, so usually going from 4th into 5th into 6th gears. Sometimes I do it from 3rd to 4th gear as well, so I would be shifting when the bar on the bottom of the screen was somewhere in between 75 to 90% full. On the lower gears, so 1st into 2nd and 2nd into 3rd gears, I would actually use all the power, so just shift when the bar fills up, and that's when I'm coming out of the slow corners, so I can try to build up a bit more speed, so then I'll end up short shifting in the higher gears. I would also like to note that when you're coming into the pit stop to change your tires, the little diamond on the bottom of the screen will tell you where your fuel needs to be able to finish the race. So if your fuel bar lines up with that diamond, that means that you're on track. You don't have to refuel. With the race being an odd number of laps, one of your stints will have to be longer than the other one. So one stint will be 7 laps on racing medium tires, and the other one, which is also racing medium tires, will be 6 laps long. I personally suggest using the 7-lap stint as your first one. That way you can just get that one out of the way, and on your last 6 laps, which is your second stint, you can push a little bit more, especially towards the end of the race where everyone starts to scramble and just try to overtake each other. You'll have a bit more of the tire life, so you can try to make a move if you can, and with the car being a little lighter, your car will obviously go a little bit faster. And also, let's just take a look at the slipstream over here, as it's pretty strong, so you can definitely make a move coming up to the big banky boy. So over here I was able to get a good exit and be able to overtake Turismo Leicester. So now over here I'm getting a little bit excited because this will be the first time that I'm about to beat him fair and square. And you also got to keep your cool, so Leicester's now applying a ton of pressure on me. I'm getting a bit too excited because I'm about to kick his butt for the first time. But once again, you just got to keep your cool, and because I'm getting a little too excited, I almost lose control right there. I'm kind of just messing up at this point. And also, one thing that you probably all know is to try to avoid getting the stupid penalties, because I got a 4-second penalty for being tapped on. Anyways, but that's pretty much it for this guide. Try to avoid getting stupid penalties like that. There are no tower requirements, so you can just easily do a racing medium stint into another racing medium stint and do some short shifting so you can avoid having to refuel. But yeah, so that's all for the guide. I'm going to sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA getting really stupid penalties, and I'll see you in the next video.